Buckle in, Buttercups. This is going to be the crash course for Atlas progression. Yes, find Amigo in the back. This subject has been covered many times before, but those videos are too long for my attention span. And I keep telling myself that there's people out there like myself that exist, so I don't feel so alone, and this video is for those people. Now, the Atlas was reforged anew when the Conquerors of the Atlas expansion dropped. This expansion brought in the Watchstone System. Breaking down the Watchstone System, there are 8 regions, which can have up to 4 Watchstones. They have 1 for each Conqueror, respectively, per region. The Watchstones can be stored at the side of the Atlas in their designated region holder, or they can be socketed into one of the 8 regions of the Atlas. Watchstones upgrade the tiers of each map in the region they are socketed in. The process of going from 0 Watchstones in a region to 4 Watchstones in a region will change the lowest tier of map from a T1 all the way to a T14 at the minimum by the time you socketed the 4th Watchstone. To get Watchstones, there are set rules to follow. Only one of each color of Watchstone may be dropped from each region. Also, Conquerors will not spawn or progress unless you run the correct tier of maps for that region based on the Watchstone you have socketed. With each time you drop a Watchstone from a specific Conqueror, the Conqueror will increase in the map tier / Watchstone required to spawn that specific Conqueror the next time. It starts off with each Conqueror being spawned in the corner region in T3 to T5 maps, and after spawning the corner Conquerors and acquiring the first Watchstone from each of these Conquerors, the Conquerors will then require you to run maps in a region with at least 1 Watchstone to spawn them the next time. After each time you drop a stone for each respective Conqueror, you will need to run regions with 1 stone higher than the last time you ran it. This process repeats until you get 5 Watchstones from each color, at which point you will have spawned the first Awakener, and you must open the fight to continue progressing the Atlas. If you haven't done Awakener before and you're worried about the fight, you can unsocket all of your Watchstones to make the fight as easy as possible. Now, after the Awakener fight, if you're going to continue to acquire Watchstones from the rest of the zones, you must run regions with at least 4 Watchstones and at least T14 maps from those specific regions. These rules define what you need to do to spawn the Conquerors and drop the Watchstones from those Conquerors. But we still need to generate maps, and there are a few ways to do this. In the center of the Atlas, there are 2 numbers. One refers to Awakening Objective, while the other refers to Atlas Completion. These numbers are vital to increase your Atlas map sustain. These numbers will always be the amount of completion over the amount of total maps that are in the Atlas. To get the Atlas Completion, you simply need to run maps you haven't run before between the 3 tiers, white, yellow, and red. You will need to run these maps as Magic, Rare, or Rare/Corrupted, respectively, to get Atlas completion for the maps. Unique maps also count for a portion of the Atlas completion, so when you get those, it's a good idea to run them. After you get to Atlas completion later on, you will begin to acquire Awakening Objective when you get more Watchstones. This is generally taken care of by itself, but what it does is it requires you to run maps while you have a specific Awakening level. So it may be asking you to do something like run a jungle map at Awakening level 5. Aside from these Atlas completion objectives you see in the center, you also really just need to drop more maps in general, and a good way to do this is running maps that are rare or even chiseled when you get to your highest tier maps to ensure you hopefully get more map drops to continue pushing map tiers. Also, Zana is crucial to pushing Atlas completion. Zana will sell you maps, often ones you have not completed, and every time you do a Zana mission, her shop will reset, so I highly recommend always buying maps you haven't completed from Zana, and then when you run out of maps, just run a Zana mission and let her shop reset so you can buy more maps you haven't completed to continue pushing map tiers. Lastly, I'd recommend delving as well because it's a great area to acquire more maps, and if you struggle with sustain, trust me, delve will go a long way to helping your map sustain. Based on this information, let's talk strategy for what to do on a fresh league start. First, push to each of the 4 corners to get your first set of Watchstones. Then we will begin playing the Watchstone game. The Watchstone game involves constantly moving around Watchstones based on where you need maps. Often you're going to find yourself rotating regions which have 2 to 3 to even 4 Watchstones to isolate specific map regions to be the only ones that can drop the maps you need so you don't get stuck dropping maps from a wrong region causing you to not progress. For example, if we've already completed turns ends with our Conquerors and we're trying to spawn a Conqueror for Glennick Carnes, we don't want both of these zones now for Watchstones, because if we drop a T14 map, it would be a 50-50 between dropping a lookout map and a desert map. If we take out this Watchstone here, the only T14 map we could drop is now the desert map. You'll see we'll type in tier and then 14, and now you'll see there's a bunch of maps highlighted here, but there's none in this region. If we have this socketed, all of a sudden we have a lot of other maps competing for the map pool we want to drop in a specific zone. So you'll end up moving these Watchstones from zone to zone based on where you need to spawn your conqueror, and you want to set it up so the only maps you can drop are going to be in the zone you want them to drop in. I hope this video was able to help you guys understand the convoluted topic of Atlas progression, and I wish you all the best on your league starts, and as always, thanks for watching, everybody.